Hello, everyone. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of the ethical reasoning assignment. This is a newer assignment. We just developed it last summer, and so it's been through a few cycles here, or should I say semesters. And so it's one of my favorite assignments in this course because it gets us all thinking about ethics right from the beginning. And so as we progress through the course, you're able to apply some of these ethical reasoning principles and work through maybe some ethical dilemmas that might come up either in your research or homework or group assignments. Okay, so I'm not going to read this introduction to the assignment to you, but it pretty much sums up my thoughts on why ethical reasoning is an important aspect of our curriculum, and I think why it should be an important thing to you as well. And there is a definition here that I found. I kind of just wanted to comment a little bit on the fact that, those of you working in healthcare are probably very well aware of the ethical dilemmas that can present themselves. But I think it's also important to consider some of the ethical dilemmas that might present themselves in our own personal life, whether it's applying for a job in that process, or maybe I should say applying for multiple jobs in that process and going about that in an ethical manner in terms of not burning bridges, and maybe leaving one employer to go to another, which is something you may consider once you reach the end or during the course of your master's program. And so other things just in regards to, personal finances and maybe assisting a relative or those types of situations that can arise that include ethical decision making. Okay. And all right, so let's jump in here. So the assignment instructions, first of all, I need you to read chapter 28 in the Oaks and Waters textbook on ethical issues in health information management. And then I have an article there on the ethical implications of the EHR in the service of the patient, and also a pretty short study regarding hospital IT investments in nursing smartphone solutions poised for explosive growth. And so after you're done reading those, I want you to kind of put yourself in a frame, the following framework, where you are the health information manager at a small rural hospital, and you find that the majority of the nursing staff at the hospital are using personal smartphones for clinical documentation and workflow. Okay, you're concerned with some type of HIPAA-related security risk associated with personal smartphone usage. All right, and then we're going to turn to the Oaks and Waters textbook, and there is a ethical decision-making process on page 919, and it's essentially kind of a flow chart, a decision tree of sorts that can kind of help walk you through the decision-making associated with an ethical dilemma. And then we'll also have you look at pages 910 and 911 in that same textbook and apply the values and ethical principles that are addressed on those pages. And then, so in order to address the elements that I'm looking for, I'd like you to write a 3 to 5 page paper, okay? So first of all, you're going to identify what the ethical question or dilemma is, okay? Then you're going to address the facts. So what are the known facts? So based off of the information that you've gathered, and what information, there might be more information that needs to be gathered, I should say. So really take some time to research the facts surrounding personal smartphone usage in healthcare, and what are the risks associated with that, and try to decipher what's facts and what kind of information needs to be gathered in order to make a solid ethical decision, okay? Then identify the stakeholders, so the direct stakeholders, maybe some indirect type stakeholders that would be involved in this ethical dilemma or scenario. And then the next question, what are the options to minimize risk, support clinical communication, and resolution? So think about this from all angles, okay? So from nursing angle, from administration's angle, from a HIPAA privacy and security Officer Engel, excuse me, it's late in the day. And then it's just important to really explore the issue from all those angles. And so I want you to kind of put yourself in several different positions to think through that. And the second question was just, are multiple points of view relevant in this scenario? If yes, how are they relevant? If no, why? And provide your rationale. So I think I've given you an indication of what I'm expecting for that second question there. There probably should be multiple points of view. Okay, next. So then you're going to determine what is your decision. So identify how you would go about addressing the situation of nurses using personal smartphones to communicate clinical information. So you want to, after you've gathered all this information, you've kind of gone through this process, now is the time where you're going to make your decision. So as an HIM professional, it's important to understand ethical principles to help with decision making and to understand why others may make the decisions they do. So we need you to then take a look at pages 9, 10, and 9, 11 and determine which ethical principles are at play in your decision making, okay? And some of those are, I have the book open here, so altruism, autonomy, beneficence, consequentialism, deontology, I never know how to say that, egoism, least harm, utilitarianism, okay? So take a look at that, read those definitions, and identify which ones are applicable and kind of explain why they are applicable, and kind of how they factor into this decision making, okay? Then you're going to identify what the elements that might also help you justify your decision, okay? Are there AHIMA Code of Ethics principles involved in this ethical dilemma? So as a health information professional, we have a code of ethics that we need to follow in all that we do. And I provided a link for you down below here. And I would definitely advise you to take a look at those and to identify which ones maybe come into play here. Also, I want you to identify one CSS Benedictine value that applies to this ethical dilemma. So take a look at those as well. I believe that there was some information for you to review in terms of on the checklist from a reading and review perspective. Also, if you have additional questions or maybe want some more information about the mission of the college or the Benedictine values, I believe on the CSS website, you can go to if there's like a link about us, I think, and then mission integration, and you'll find some links there. And so you'll see the values. So let's see if I can name them. Stewardship, respect, love of learning. Stewardship, respect, love of learning. Oh my gosh, you guys, it has been a long day. I do know these. Wouldn't you know it? Stewardship, respect, love of learning. Hospitality and community. Got it. Sorry, just took me a sec. And so definitely take a look at those and read their definitions and determine which ones apply to this ethical dilemma. Okay. Lastly, how can you prevent this from happening again? Okay. So this may require some additional research beyond what you already have done for this assignment in order to kind of come up with some potential solutions for this scenario. Okay. All right. So that is an overview. This is just a summary of the deliverables that should be submitted for grading. And so here's just some additional clarification that the assignment should be 3 to 5 pages, double space, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins. That'll be pretty consistent across the board going forward with upcoming assignments. And then be sure to cite your sources, of course. And so we're going to get some practice in this, and probably these first few units, I'm going to be giving more extensive feedback than I normally would. And if I don't see improvement, I'll probably start deducting points for APA citations. And so I really want you to review my feedback and then apply it. Okay, so I want to see some improvement in your APA citations. I'm going to do my best to give you as in-depth feedback as I possibly can, and so I just ask that you take the time to review that, and so you can improve. And of course, if you have any questions about APA or how to cite something, definitely reach out to me. But also, there's some great resources online. Purdue OWL is a wonderful resource. We also have the CSS library. They have a complete APA reference LibGuide, I believe is what they call it. And there's just a plethora of information out there, of course. And of course, you have your APA textbook too. But definitely reach out if you have any questions on APA, the assignment, or any of these instructions. And thanks for bearing with me as I tried to remember all the Benedictine values. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks.